no degree, no education, nothing. And they all run their own businesses. They all have a living for themselves, my mom and my dad included. So education is not for everyone, but it's really about who you know and building that life for yourself and wanting to have that drive, like having that drive and that motivation to create a better life for yourself. So it's all in your mindset, really.
100%. I mean, like it's right there for the taking. Like anything you really, they always say like you put your mind to, you can get it, but like it's such a cliche, like simple term, but like it's 100% like true. Like it just is. Like when you really focus in on something, like you start to like the universe kind of like starts to like, all right, you're really into this. Like we're gonna start pushing some things towards your way, and you start to see like these other things like open up, and next thing you know, you're like kind of, oh, I got an opportunity with this, and then this is gonna be this, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh my god, I've made it to where I want to make it. Like this is crazy. You look back, you're like, holy crap, shit. It started like with this one thing 5 years ago. Like it's just wild to like, I don't know, just look back on things and like, wow, like I started from here and now here, my mindset took me this far and my networking helped. And there's tons of other factors along the way, on the road, on the journey, but that mindset is like so key. And like to keep that mindset going, it's difficult at times.
Yeah.
So
I think the best thing about this path that we've been on for the last year has been finding other like-minded people. I mean, more recently, like this summer, we brought Joe on board and we brought our street team on board. And every morning, Yesi and I and Joe, we have this group message, and it's like 7 a.m. and we're sending each other like these hustle motivation quotes. We're just like, okay, we have a huge busy day on our full-time job calendar, but
let's get
you know
this
what?
bread.
Yeah, we're like always saying that it's time to collect the baguette. We're going to be moguls in 5 years.
Let's collect the baguette. I definitely like that saying a lot. Let's
collecting the baguette every day. We're obtaining the grain, and we're doing it in different ways. Like it's not just the full-time hustle, it's the side hustles that really matter to us. I mean, Dubstep FBI, that's like my little baby. And now that we've started another company, we started Millennial Momentum Consulting.
Ooh.
That's something that we're putting our all into growing. And again, it relates back to that energy. When you find people who have that same drive, that same hustle, and they know that it's going to be a hard day ahead, but they're still so hyped to see what that end goal is eventually, that's when you really start thriving. And that's when the ideas start to flow. So I live for that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
I could go on and on about that if we talk about that on the podcast.
Go in on it. We already started.
Oh, we did?
We were having such a good conversation that I was like, I'm going to sneak the start button here and see where this goes.
I didn't even realize.
We didn't even hear the Zoom lady say, this meeting is being recorded.
Well, that's what I was saying is I record it through OBS. Not through the Zoom, so that's why you wouldn't hear it. But we were talking. I knew we were gonna go on a good tangent, so I was like, I'm just gonna like just click it and we'll see where we go with it, and then eventually they'll be like, have we started yet? Like I
knew you were up to something.
I thought it would be a little bit more down the road, but all right, it's okay. I was caught a little early. But no, please go into it. Let's get into it now.
Well, I know that. So, like Chrissy was saying, we're running these 2 businesses now.
Yeah.
We still have our full-time job, and obviously we want to eventually have our babies here, Millennial Momentum and Dubstep BI. We want these to take over our current income. That's like, those are like Chrissy said, those are our babies. And it's challenging, of course. I mean, you're working your 40 hours a week. I'm running basically my own business and my full-time job because I'm in sales. I have a quota to hit. If I don't hit my quota, that means no one else in the company, all the other employees don't get their annual bonuses that they get from these sales that come in. Like I have a huge weight on me. I have a lot of pressure to hit this quota. But a lot of people always ask us like, how do you stay motivated? How do you like stay on top of these things? And I don't really think there's like any sort of secret formula to stay motivated. And Chrissy hit the nail that, it is something that comes from within, and it's all about finding people that will elevate your life. I posted about this on my Instagram, where like, if you're not hanging out with people who are elevating and complimenting your life, they're enabling you. And the biggest lesson I've ever learned that I wish I knew in college
Mm-hmm.
is that you need to shift your circle of influence. So, like, okay, let's just say I always tell this to people, like, when they're asking me, like, how do you have friends like Chrissy and Joe who are constantly motivating you? Take your 5 closest friends, add up all of their income, and then once you have everyone's income, add it all up, divide it by 5. Chances are, a good chance is that your income is the average of those 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that the people that I was hanging out with in college, yeah, like these people are not actually thinking like I am. They're not thinking long term. They're not wanting to have this type of success that I want. So why should I hang out with these type of people? They're not adding any value to my life. So really, it's just finding people who are complimenting you, adding value to your life, pushing you, and holding you accountable to stay motivated and to stay on top of your goals. Stay consistent. Chrissy's constantly on my ass. And me, I'm on her ass too. I'm like, hey girl, you better get your ass to the gym. You think you're gonna get to the gym? You better get your ass to the gym.
That gym's hard. That gym's
hard
to
sneak glass of wine and go.
That gym's hard to sneak in the 40-hour work week plus your other job. I get that. I have trouble sneaking it in there.
And that's the other thing too. Yes, it's hard, but it's really all about prioritization.
Yeah, prioritization. I mean, and it is rewarding.
People watch Netflix for an hour. You could have spent an hour at that gym instead of watching Netflix or watching reels on Instagram or TikTok videos. You could have spent that hour at the gym.
Facts.
So people are constantly
go off, Yesi.
Facts.
It's true. I mean, you got to find that.
It's very true.
You got to make time for it.
Yeah, and like you said, I want to circle back a little bit to like your group of friends is so important, and you know I was taking a little break from social media for like the last 2 months, and I wasn't doing much posting, and like I feel very rejuvenated that we're in that like group chat with everybody now, because I, like, to be straight, like none of my friends are really doing any like type of podcast or social media stuff like this, so it was really hard for me to like keep going and like, and then I started interviewing, you know, I have you guys on, I had the guys from Beyond the Beats on, I'm gonna have a Rod on, I have things with Aid,
shout out.
I'm shouting out everybody right now because they're awesome.
Nancy
and
Samir.
No, they're the best. Yeah.
You'll love to hear that.
But I just, you know, getting to talk to these people and getting to know you guys and know more about them and stuff like that. And now I can text them. I can text you guys. Like it's so much better because I'm like, I got these group of people now that are in the same boat as I am, working 40 hours a week and trying to do this online. That like it makes me more rejuvenated. I'm like, okay, I'm on the right path. I'm doing what I got to do. Like it is so important to have those people with like minds, and you know it's a tough thing to say where you're like you gotta drop those friends, but it is a harsh reality that like it might come to that, you know. It with anyone that is, you know, listening and has that situation going on, it is sometimes a harsh reality to face, because you know sometimes you don't want to leave those friends. You're like, you know, I'm having a great time, I'm having so much fun, but are they helping you with those goals? Are they helping with what you want to achieve? And it's not in a selfish manner either. It's just saying like, do they have my back as much as I have their back, you know? Because that's a big thing too, is like I could have someone's back every day of the week, but if they're only there for me one day and I'm not, you know, I'm there for 7, what's the point of the friendship? I'm not getting the same effort put in, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah. And that's a good point, because the biggest thing that I've learned is with the friends that I have, I'm like, hey, these are my goals. You know, yeah, you may want to go out every weekend. Maybe our long-term goals and our values are not aligned, but hey, this is my goal. I would appreciate if you support it. Are you going to come with me or not?
This is the other thing is like,
so
I don't,
you know, if people who don't support that, it's then that's when you got to cut them out.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. The other thing I would say is, I mean, this is me personally. Like I'm never going to ask for like my friend's support. I'm just not. I'm going to pay attention. I literally saw this tweet today, like speaking of it, it was literally said like, I'm never going to ask for your support, but I'm sure as hell going to pay attention. And it kind of hit me because I was like, that's how I feel about it. Like, I'm never going to be like, I need you to support me. Like, I'm never going to say that to them, but I am going to pay attention. Like, okay, this friend is asking me what I'm doing, how I'm doing, you know, is it going well? Or if I post something where I need people to interact, they're interacting with my content. You know, they're there, like they're showing their support, however small it might be. They're there showing it. And then I have other friends where I'm like, they haven't really done anything like at all since they've known about it. You know, they've known about me doing this for a year now. They haven't done anything. And, you know, that's all I can really say about it. There's nothing much else to say. But that's something that hit me is like, I'll pay attention, but I'm not going to be like, hey, I need your guys' help. Like, because then it's like they're doing it because he needs my help. Like when I would help, again, like I would help them or, you know, whoever. But I would like to see that reciprocated in a sense.
Yeah, I can see like your point of it, like both sides.
Yeah.
I guess the point of view that I was coming from is if I'm trying to save money for a house, like, hey, if you want to go out for dinner tonight, you know what? I can't, but how about we just stay in? I'll cook dinner for us because I can't afford to go out to eat. Mm-hmm. Friends who support that, awesome.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I get what you're saying.
You know, when it comes to like, Chrisy and I were just talking about this in our last podcast with Layla, aka Lays. We were talking about how, you know, once you get things going and, you know, you might be a small artist and you have like local shows at bars or little clubs and whatever, you invite your friends. Mm-hmm. And then once they don't support you, they don't really interact with you, talk with you. But then once they see that you're starting to headline at these festivals or you're starting to become a big name, then that's when they start contacting you. That's when they start reaching out because they want guest pass, backstage passes. I think, it's like, really?
Yeah.
Well, I invited you to a local show like not too long ago, and where were you? You know?
I've seen that happen multiple times with tons of people. There's a girl in our area that I know now. I met her through a friend that her DJ name is Daisy. And I've met her once and we talked about doing a podcast interview and we've kept in touch. We haven't been able to work it out when we're going to do it. But she just got like put on the abduction lineup in Orlando, Florida.
That's huge.
And she posted on her Snap story. And I didn't hit her up or anything, but I did congratulate her. I said, congrats, you know, still let me know when you're free to do the podcast. But she posted on her Snap story, like, guys, I cannot get you tickets. Like, she was just like, I'm not, like, she didn't, like, address, like, I'm sure she addressed some people, like, you know, in private, but she just put on her story, like, guys, I can't get you tickets. And it made me giggle because I was like, that's kind of funny. But at the same time, it's also a little sad, like, exactly what you're saying. Like, oh, now you're coming out because I'm starting to really get momentum here and I'm getting bigger. My name's on some lineups, you know. It's crazy. It is. It shows who you're real. It shows though who's real and who's not. It really does when you're at your ground level.
I think it's important to remember that just because someone was in chapter 4 of your life doesn't mean that they need to be in chapter 7, chapter 8. If they're meant to be in your life, they will come back around eventually, but I just cringe when I see people holding on to these toxic relationships that are doing more harm than good. Because I think I'm a huge believer in putting yourself first. I mean, even in relationships, you can't find anyone to love unless you love yourself first.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, and you just have to remember that, yes, there's this one person who keeps prying for your time and energy, but you have 7 billion other people to sort through on this planet before you die. So, you know what? I'm sorry, but if you're not striking me as, you know, challenging myself to be more intellectual and find solutions to problems, and if you're always just talking negatively about other people, then you're out of my circle. And I'm sorry that you were even in it to begin with. That's harsh, but it's facts.
Damn.
Love to see it.
I only have a certain amount of time on this planet, which actually reminds me of my favorite metaphor that has to do with a festival. And I tell this to people when I'm actually spitting the hardest facts ever. I was at 2018 EDC and I traveled all the way to Vegas with my friends just to see Keizo play the Cosmic Meadow. He's my favorite artist. I literally have chills right now thinking about that set. And awesome. I'm in the middle of his set that I've traveled so far to get to. And all of these random people were just coming up to me. Where you from, girl? What you doing? Where you going after this? Where you staying? And I'm just like, stop. This set represents the amount of time that I have in my life. And if you're going to let people distract you the entire time and waste your time and talk to you while your favorite artist is playing, before you know it, that set's going to be over. And before you know it, your life's going to be over.
Wow.
So you should think of those people distracting me at a festival as those friends that you need to get rid of wasting your time in life.
Love that, Chrisy.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I'm processing it right now. I don't even know what to say back to that. It's a perfect metaphor, though. It really is. I'm like stumped right now.
I know. It's a crazy metaphor, but I mean, that also shows us how much festivals have an impact on our lives. which is why I do what I do. I hustle so freaking hard so that I can play harder. And Yesi Joe and I, we live by this motto. We hustle hard, but we play harder. And when you guys see us in the pit, you're gonna realize that.
I mean,
yeah, honestly, like people might be looking at Dubstep BI, like especially my family, they might be seeing this as like a joke, thinking like, oh, like FBI, like what the fuck? Who are you? Who do you think you are? Do you think you're like the actual federal like whatever
Bureau of Investigation? Like, I got you.
I'm just like, mom, like I just want free festival passes, okay? Like that's all I want. I just want free festival passes.
Is that the reason you guys gonna do
it? To network, make friends, and just travel the world because I work so that I can travel. Love traveling.
Yeah, you work hard so you could play hard. And I mean, I've lived by that since forever. I mean, I worked all through college, and I can think back to I can remember like clear as day. So I wasn't my parents helped pay for some things. I had to take out loans. They told me if I wanted to do a fraternity or whatever, that was on me. I had to pay for that. And truthfully, again, I worked for most of the money I had in college. So I didn't want to spend it on a fraternity. Nothing against them. I get I get why some people like them. I get the networking, whatever, all that jazz.
What a Chad.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's me. But I didn't do one, and I didn't want to pay the money for one. But I did spend my money on traveling and going to festivals. And I can remember clear as day, one of my boys that was in a frat, like, man, you're going to all these festivals and you're traveling. Like, how are you doing that? And I just kind of looked at him and I was like, well, I don't pay $2,000 a semester for this. I was like, I'm doing what I want to do. And I was like, you could do it too. You chose to do the fraternity, and not, again, to each his own. We have totally different college experiences, but we each love exactly what we did. But like that, just again, I worked 30 hours a week, did school full time. But then when I went on vacation, my mic cut out. But when I went on vacation, it was a party. Like I was having the time of my life. Not necessarily partying the whole time, but I made sure I was playing hard those weekends I had off.
Yes, I can totally relate. I mean, CSU for both Yesi and I, that was a hustle, dude. Like I was working 3 jobs at one point on campus.
That's crazy.
And that's including being a reporter for the student paper, and then being in student government, working for the Morgan Library, working in my department at the journalism department. I mean, those little things at the time, I was like, why am I doing this? It's only $8 an hour, whatever. This is so annoying. I'm so busy. But now I look back on it and I'm like, that was genius.
Yeah, it's setting you up right for what you're trying to do now.
Yeah. And going back to what I was talking about earlier, where like the gym, for example, prioritization. You had prioritized working 30 hours a week. You didn't go to the fraternity, and that's how you're able to go to these festivals.
Yeah.
Same shit with traveling. Like I've been to 25 countries. I'm 24 and I've been to 25 countries, and people always ask me like, how are you able to travel so much? How can you afford it? And I will say, yes, I did grow up with a family who we were well off. I'm very blessed, very thankful. But they taught me how to work for what you want. And I knew that traveling was one of my long-term goals. I just want to live the life that I want, work from wherever I want, whether that's in the Swiss Alps, Austrian Alps, out in Bora Bora, Fiji, Dubai, literally anywhere.
Yeah.
So I was literally working 3 jobs as well. I was working at a startup. I was working at the study abroad office at CSU. Yes. And then I was literally working at this senior living facility, literally wiping ass.
Dude, you hustled. I didn't know that about you, actually. That's a fun fact.
I was literally just trying to find any job that could pay the bills, that could fund my traveling. I traveled to Colombia when I was only 16 by myself.
Where did the accent just come from?
Sorry.
She's like talking normal, then she's like Colombia, and then I went to. I love it though. I'm just messing around. Cheers! All right, we'll cheers to that. We'll cheers to that. We'll cheers to that.
Yes.
Cheers. Wish I could like make the clink noise, like.
But it's same thing, my people would always ask me like, how are you able to do this? Are you able to fund your travels? Oh, her family probably paid for everything. No, honey, I just made it a prioritization, and you chose to go to the bars every weekend, spend hundreds of dollars a night on Vegas bombs and shit. Like
Vegas
I chose to
bombs.
stay in.
Vegas bombs are big out where y'all are.
And audios. Do you know what those are? AMFs.
Oh, AMFs.
No, I don't know those, but I remember when I visited Fort Collins, first off, I never had Vegas bombs and I didn't even know what those were. And I came to Fort Collins for that week and all they kept doing was ordering Vegas bombs and I was like, what is this? Delicious. But that's all they kept ordering. I remember that clear as day.
You must have gone to Rec Room.
I don't remember where I was.
Or Bondi.
Don't remember where I was. I remember I was downtown.
My least favorite
Fort
place.
Collins.
Stickiest floors.
I do remember sticky floors, so maybe that was the right place. Who knows?
Dude, shit went down over there. One of my friends, actually, he got so drunk, they had to drag him out of Bondi while he was holding onto a pole inside Bondi. Being like, no, and the police grabbed his legs, and at one point he was like stretching, like his hands were holding onto the pole, and the cops had his legs up. And then he got in the ambulance, he resisted arrest. My friend talked them out of arresting him. They went to another bar. And then that bar was like, you're not coming in. They flagged a cop down, put this kid in an ambulance, and he beat up the paramedics. It's a terrible story,
Chrissy,
but it just shows you what happens when you do Vegas bombs.
You're going to have to tell me about this offline because I need to know who this is.
Yeah, it was actually after my graduation party. My parents like rented out a restaurant and we all just had a great time. And then we just had like 10 too many.
10 too
Yikes.
many. Yeah, that's a wild night right there.
Yeah. I'm remembering the last time we ever went to Bondi. It was back in 2018 when I graduated from CSU and Chrisy came out there. And this was right before our trip to Tomorrowland. And so we decided to go to, for anyone who's listening, they're familiar with Fort Collins, the Blind Pig. And then I think we went to, Elliot's. Did we go to Elliot's?
Mm-hmm, the Martini Bar.
Yeah, I think we went there.
Ooh.
And then we ended up at Bondi. But my friend Daniela, her and I had graduated together. Christy had graduated the year before, but she went out to support us. And, we went to Bondi, but keep in mind, my friend Daniela, she had sprained her ankle at the undie run. So she was walking around in a, what is it, the little scooter thing with her knee on the scooter. And we were just partying in the booth at Bondi, and she was just like sitting down and just like waving her arms, but she was handicapped.
Oh, the memories.
I'm surprised we still made it to Tomorrowland, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the club I went to. Bondi.
Oh, Bondi, you're looking it up?
I want to pull it up. I want to see, because I've been to Fort Collins, and I did go out one night there. I just don't remember. I didn't know any. My friends just took me around. I didn't know what bars was what, but I actually do remember these benches.
It's like a beach bar.
Yeah, I don't remember the beach part.
Australian beach bar, yeah.
Don't remember the beach part, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to sign up later.
Oops. Well, you got to come back to Colorado. We'll take you on some fun hikes.
Oh, I definitely will. I definitely will. I mean, I love hiking. I do. I love the mountains. Like I said, we talked a little bit earlier. I've only done 2 hikes out in Colorado, but I did Horsetooth. I did Horsetooth, which wasn't bad. That was easy, right? Cool view,
oh, yeah,
really
that's
nice. Nothing compared to the monster I took on the next day, which absolutely, like I told you guys earlier, it absolutely just killed me. I was out of commission the rest of the day. I remember just like gasping for air in the back of the truck on the 2-hour ride home to Fort Collins. Just like, and I passed out and I got up, walked inside, and just fell asleep on their couch for like 4 hours. Like I was just done. My body was like beat.
I have to ask
about right.
Like, what time did you guys start? Because that's key.
Early. That's.
Okay.
I mean, the guys I was with go hiking a lot, so they knew what they were doing. I would say. I mean, we got there. I think I woke up at like 4 a.m. and drove out. So I think we got there 6:30 and started. Yeah, I remember. What was so funny about it was because again I'm from Florida and then I go up to Colorado and it's June. And it was like 36 degrees when we started the hike. And I was like, what is going on? And then, of course, the sun comes up and all that. And then it's like 78 by the time we're finishing. But like, It was still like blew my mind. I'm like, it's June and it's 38. But of course, with the elevation, but all that. But like, Florida boy was like, what is going on? I am cold. Like,
damn. I mean, nothing beats my first 14er that Yesi and our friend Hugo took me on. We did Huron Peak. And we camped And we actually started hiking at 12:30 in the morning, like psychos. Wow. We slept for like 2 hours, I think. I think I had like a beer and then went to sleep for 2 hours. And then we started hiking. We actually got to the top for sunrise. We got there like 45 minutes before the sun even started rising.
Dude, and it was the most brutal 45 minutes ever. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. You can continue, Chrisy.
No, it was. It was the most brutal 45 minutes ever. We were so cold. I literally had Hugo's wool socks on my hands because I was freezing. And it was so windy up there. Yeah, here on peak. But the most beautiful sunrise I've ever seen in my entire life. It was actually a meteor shower that night, too.
What?
So we saw...
Yes.
I have chills again. And we saw so many shooting stars when we got above the tree line. It was amazing.
I will say, though, it was really scary in the beginning because, you know, once I forgot what elevation it starts at, but the tree line usually ends at 12,000 feet.
Right.
Fun fact. So when we started, we were like, we got to get to 12,000 feet as quick as possible because there could be bears right next to us. And we don't want to be fucking with any bears or run into any bears in the middle of the night or moose. So that was a scary part. And I mean, yeah, we literally like had a couple beers the night before, literally only slept for like an hour and a half, maybe 1 hour.
Maybe.
That's wild.
Yeah, maybe.
That's definitely now on my bucket list is to see a sunrise from the top of a mountain.
We'll take you. If you come, we can camp at the summit and just start at like 12:30 or 1.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah, I'm in. I mean, I'll do it. There's no doubt about it. Might take me a lot longer.
Experience.
Might take me a lot longer than you'd like. I felt that's the one thing is like, so me, I'm somebody that like, even if like I'm very physically active, I work out, I did a lot of sports growing up, like, and for me to like be dying that much and like in my head I was like I gotta keep pushing, but then like it would just get to a point where I was like I was like I have to sit down, like I just couldn't handle it my lungs just couldn't, my heart rate would go, it was bad. I mean, my heart rate would go up to 200. Now this is with the Apple Watch, so I know it's not like super accurate.
Cow.
My heart rate would go up to 200 and then I would rest and get it like down to 180 and it would be like resting at 180 and I would be sitting there like 20 minutes and then I'd be like, let's go. And I would just go and I'd go for about 20-30 minutes and then same thing, I just had to sit down for 20 minutes. It was like a brutal process, but I was just determined. And what's funny is like me, I felt so bad for the people I was hiking with because they're all in Colorado and they're just like fine. They're like, all right, we'll wait for you, no big deal. And they like expected it, but in my head I was like, I feel so bad, I'm just holding this up. Like I was making this way longer than it needs to be. And the whole time they were like, nah man, you're cool. Like we understand, like you've been here for 3 days, like you're good. But I felt so bad the whole time. But they were really, really good group of people to be with.
There's literally no reason for you to feel bad. I mean, it was your first 14er. So yeah. Anyone who ever takes you on a 14er and they give you a hard time for holding up the group, then those are not people you want to hang out with.
No, they never. Like, they never did that. Not once. I just felt bad because
I know you felt bad internally, and I know that feeling too because when I did my first 14er, when we did with Chrisy, that was my second 14er. So I did my first one just like 2 weeks before that, and it was Mount Massive. That's the second highest 14er in Colorado. Wow. And that was my first one. So that was rough. And
you went with Hugo, who speed runs 14ers.
Yeah, so we went with my friend Hugo, who, by the way, is just I don't know how that kid does it. He will literally run marathons like there's no tomorrow. The other month I went to San Diego and he was like, hey, let's go on a run. Guess what? We ended up running a freaking marathon, dude.
Oh my god.
This kid does not stop running, and me, I'm kind of the same way where I'm like, I'm just gonna keep going because I feel bad. I want to hold him up. And we ended up running a marathon, dude. Or no, a half marathon. 13 miles. Still, that's a lot. But anyways, Mount Massive, that was insane. We started at 1:30 in the morning. He took us, we ended up blazing for a bit, which means you go off trail. And I was like, where the fuck are we? Like, I don't want to end up in a bear's nest.
In the dark, yeah.
In the dark. But the sky was just so clear. It was so beautiful. And there were so many other solo hikers there, which I was actually surprised about. Like, I don't think I could ever hike in the dark by myself.
Oh, I don't think I would ever do that. That's definitely risky.
But
look,
there's
you can
so
see
many that we
Gray's
ran
Peak.
into on the way up, and they were all just so nice and so friendly, and they saw how much I was struggling because it was my first 14er, and so they were giving me like these gummies,
I love those.
the honey gummies. They're like the energy gummies, and then they were
Interesting.
giving me like Gatorade and giving me like a bunch of water and electrolytes, and they were just so sweet. So many awesome people that you find on these trails. That's what I love about Colorado. Everyone is so friendly. They're always waving back at you, and it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a big difference. I come from San Diego. Anytime I go hiking in San Diego, at least recently, and I go hiking, people are not so friendly on the trails. But Colorado, everyone is like your friend,
That's
unless
yeah.
it's a tourist.
Yeah. That's why we don't like tourists.
Okay.
But we like you, Jacob. Don't
I
worry.
was
Yeah,
gonna say, I
you
was like,
get
all
a
right,
free
that's
pass.
fine. All right, I get the free pass. Yeah, because I went hiking. You know, I didn't
I'm a
do...
native, so I can grant you access.
All right, cool. I appreciate that. I'm now part of Colorado.
My favorite part, though, and the thing I'm looking forward to most about this spring is seeing the glacial lakes because, you know, of course, like the Rockies used to be covered in ice and it's all been melting for the last, I don't know, 100,000 years or whatever. And so there's these gorgeous, just crystal blue, crystal green lakes that form at the base of 14ers.
I want to.
Oh, you have to look up Mount Sneffels too. There's a set of 3 lakes, and they're called the Blue Lakes. I didn't know what I was getting into when Yesi and Claire and Daniela, our travel buddies, they were like, we have to go to Telluride. I think Yesi found the Blue Lakes Trail on like Instagram or something. And
I don't remember who it was, but yeah, one of us found it. It's just look up Blue Lakes, Mount Sniffles.
Yes. And oh my gosh, I thought this hike was long. It was only like 4 miles to get to the first lake. But we get to the first lake and this guy's pulling like a bright red fish out of it. And then we climb up another 2 miles and there's 2 more ice green lakes waiting for us on top of these like bright red cliffs with super pointy, jagged cliffs.
Yeah, like that. That's a good...
Yep. That's exactly how it looks.
Okay, so if I come visit, this is what I want to do. I love mountains that are... I love lakes up in the mountain. Like something about that to me is so fascinating and just so peaceful and colorful. Like it's just beautiful. And that's what I want. That's what I wanted to do that trip, but they had already planned that hike and they were like, well, you're coming out this week, come on the hike with us. So I was like, all right. But I want so bad to just like go hiking and just just hang at a lake like all day and just enjoy the mountain and the lake and everything. I have actually have a list. I'm gonna pull out my phone here. I don't usually do this, but I have a list of like hiking mountains I want to do actually.
In Colorado?
I write it. It's all over. I have a list of like my bucket list things. Let me see what I got here. Hiking bucket list is what it's called. Here we go. If it loads.
Yeah, here in Colorado, if you ever come hiking with us, I know you said that you want to relax. Well, Chrissy and I, we don't relax. We get to the top of the mountain, we do high knees, blast dubstep.
Yes.
We're kind of a shit show, to be honest.
I want a little bit of a peaceful moment. And then I'll go back.
We'll meditate.
We'll crack a beer open.
Yeah, I'm not
crack
saying.
A beer.
That's
we'll
something we
beer,
did.
Enjoy the view.
We did a beer at the top of Gray's Peak. So
you have to.
That's the tradition. I was told. It's tradition. I have
And
a beer at the top.
Speaking of cracking a beer, I gotta crack open another one.
Cracker.
You're not going with the High Lie again. Shout out High Lie, Tampa, Florida Brewery, Cigar City Brewing. Shout out.
Can't even see it, but there it is.
There it is. High Lie. Check it out, people. It's a
this is my last
IPA.
One. Unfortunately.
Save that one. It's too delicious.
I got my bottle of Prosecco right here. So.
Prosecco.
And then this one's Deep Illum IPA or something. I don't know.
I'm going Bud Light Seltzer today. Lemonades, that is, not the regular.
Total bro move.
Yeah, that's all I had in the fridge here at the studio, so we're gonna go.
Do you rent your studio, or is it like a podcast studio that you go to?
I'll have to show it to you guys off. I can't move the monitor, but I got super lucky. So when I was starting to like do everything for podcasting, I have friends that own their own business, and what they had done is they bought this small like storefront that had a top floor to it, and they were using the storefront to get wholesale accounts where they could start buying things wholesale, because that's kind of how worked for them. That's how they had to do it for their business. And so they were like, well, we want to make a studio up top for our stuff, like, because they do content and stuff as well. They have a podcast, they do a live stream, they do all that. And they're like, why don't you join in with us and help us out? And plus, I already had a good amount of the equipment. Like, we use my mixer, we split the microphones and stuff. They brought a camera, they bought lights and stuff. So we kind of like just combined resources, and they let me record at the top floor with them. And they have their days they record. I have my days I record. But yeah, we share it. And they were like, bless their souls, they just said, look, we were going to buy the place anyways. Why don't you just pay for the internet?
Ooh.
So I was like, all right, even better. Like, I'll just pay for the internet for us. So that's the deal we've got going, and it's been great. It's been great. I can't complain.
Oh, that's so cool. One of our dreams is to have a Dubstep FBI studio, and I think it's going to happen next year. I'm speaking it into existence. We need an office space for both of our businesses. And I picture it as, you know, maybe it's like, I don't know, 2,000 square feet or less down in the warehouse district, down in Rhino by the ballpark.
And that's the thing is, like, you can start anywhere. Like, I mean, I'll be honest with you, like, where ours is, it's like, I remember pulling up the first day and being like I was a little concerned. I was like a little like, oh, okay. Like, and like, when I bring, every once in a while, I bring like some friends on for the podcast. And even they're like, I didn't know this place existed. I'm like, I didn't either, bro. But here we are. And they come up and like, this is a nice studio. But like outside, we're like, maybe this isn't so nice.
Yeah, those are the best though, because then you can blast music as loud as you want. Like our goal, our vision, at least my vision for the studio is like, we have a room where there's our, you know, our iMacs and all of our editing gear is set up. But then in the other room, it's a space where we can have like a little stage with LEDs and like speaker stacks, and we can throw like a 50-person party if we want to, and like film live streams, and then we can bring in, you know, artists, fly in Slander for an interview, and we do all the recording, all of the stage, all of the live sets in-house.
I mean, that's the move. You guys definitely need a big space where you can do that. That would be totally your brand, and have like, I could see like this huge logo in one corner of the thing that's like Dubstep FBI logo on the wall, like a huge logo. I'm talking like, you know, 20 feet across, something like that. Yeah.
For everyone who's watching this, better watch out. It's gonna happen in the next 3 years.
And then
Maybe next year, I know it's gonna happen at least in the next 3 years.
I can see that. I can see that, and I can see when I move out there, this like little corner of the office that's like for Bab's life. It'll be perfect, you know.
We'll have you at like a small little desk.
Yeah. I just need a little corner. That's all.
Love to see it. That would be sweet, man. Can you imagine? I mean, it would basically be like a venue that we could use whenever we want. Like, we could literally just have our friends be the bouncers and start selling tickets. If we get like Stone Level, Lays, Jessica Audifred, if we just get them up in there, we could throw a headlining show, and every other venue in Denver better watch out.
Jessica's awesome. Her music, she's like, I think she's on the come up big time. I don't know. Do you guys like know her personally? Have you interviewed her and stuff?
Yeah, she was on our podcast. Okay, and actually, you're the first to know. Oh. But Chrissy, you okay with me spilling the secret?
This is the place where we love to spill secrets because the listeners get rewarded.
Exactly.
That's true.
So basically, we have a collab coming out with Rail Breakers, a merch collab, and we're gonna release merch. Hopefully in just 1 month, but on April 19th, we're going to throw a live stream to announce the merch, and Jessica Audifred is going to headline the live stream.
What?
Yes.
Damn. All right, that's crazy.
La Reina.
Yeah. Queen, that's awesome.
La Reina. Me gusta.
Me gusta mucho.
Y'all are wild. I love it. Yeah, I showed my friends her Bass Canyon set. I know, and stuff like that. That's how I found out about her, was from Bass Canyon, and I thought she just threw the fuck down. I was like totally blown away. And I showed my friends, she has that remix of Africa that I want. Yeah, I think
classic.
It's just so good. It's so good. And I wanted one of my friends knew who she was, and I was like, you gotta listen to this. Like, you gotta listen to this Bass Canyon set. And I showed them all, and they were like, that's fucking hard. That's some hard shit. I was like, hell yeah. Dude, so I always look for her name now. I'm like, is she there? Is she coming on? Like, yeah. I'm with you on she's
the
awesome.
fact that she has her own sound too. Like I can distinguish a Jessica Audifred sound out of any crowd. You can play it anywhere and I'll be like, that's Jessica. That's Lindo. Or like her song with Monks that she just dropped is
my
so
God.
fuego.
That is fuego. We love
Hot fire flames.
No, that Bass Canyon set, anytime I'm at the gym and I have a hard time,
power through those last 5.
If I have a hard time finding a good set to play, I always resort back to Jessica Audifred back-to-back Excision at Bass Canyon. Oh my god.
Yep, that's it right there. I'm seeing if I can pull it up here real quick. Not that I can play it, but I understand.
You guys, I hope that she's at Lost Lands.
She better be. We will petition.
Jeff, if you're listening, I know you listen to all of our podcast appearances. You need to get Jessica on the lineup.
Please.
Yeah, for sure. Get her on.
Do us all a favor.
Do yourself a favor.
Oh, I need to save this.
But also, you're missing out if you don't have Jessica on the lineup. Like, like who the fuck are you to throw a festival and not have Jessica Audifred on the lineup? Like, what?
Yeah, the bass queen.
Yeah, and what I like the most about her is that she responds to every single fan who tags her in anything on any platform. She will always comment. She will always repost the story, always retweet. And that's something that you just don't see from every artist. Yeah. But what we've noticed is that women are better at supporting their fans and acknowledging their fans when they get tagged than men. Honestly, there's every single woman we've worked with has built us the fuck up and hyped us the fuck up. And that is not going to be said for all of the other artists that we've featured.
I think that's, and a lot of times it's like, I feel like the guys think they're always in competition with one another, you know? The only thing that's very different, unique is like in the podcasting world, I feel like everyone kind of supports each other in a sense. You know, if you're on the same semi-level, like Joe Rogan, for instance, like he has other comics on, you know? Like that's like, no matter guy or girl, he has them on. But I do notice that in other industries where it does seem like there's that competition where they don't support each other. But now that you mention it, I do see a lot of like the girls in the EDM industry supporting other women in the industry as well. I'll definitely pay attention more to it. But I like looking back on the few things I can think of now, I'm like, yeah, you guys are kind of right now. Unless it's like a collab, that's the only time I ever see like guys supporting, you know, but I wouldn't call that supporting because they're like collabing together. So like they have to.
It's not a knock on the dudes. It's just the fact.
Nah, knock on them.
And we love every single artist that we've worked with. But I've said this once and I'm going to say it once again. Like if you collab with someone or if you work on a project with someone or you are a partner on something and it drops on a certain day, like please make it a two-way street because then it's worth both of your times. And together the rising tide's going to lift both boats. But if it's a one-sided thing, again, like with our friend conversation that we had earlier, it's just not sustainable that way.
I agree. And again, I come up with the same point, and everyone's different. I don't know about you guys. I don't know how you guys, when you do a podcast, if you ask the artist or ask whoever you have on, like help promote it. I personally never ask. I just kind of, again, I'm like, you know, if I'm doing the right thing and I'm helping them and they're helping me and they want to do it, then so be it. And again, like you said, we're both going to grow because of that. But I'm not going to ever be like, that's just not me. I don't know how, like, sometimes I get it. You got to be aggressive. But like in this case, my whole idea is like, I'm just going to keep doing me. I'm going to keep plugging. I'm going to keep chugging away. And I'm going to keep putting stuff out. And eventually it's going to grow. But if they want to help by promoting their, you know, the fact that they were on it, then so be it. Let's do it. But I just never had that idea of like, because I've had people on that are way bigger than me, you know, and bless their hearts, I love them for that. I love that they took the time to come on, and I love that they took the time to even promote it. But I've never, like Uber, I had Uber on, you know, a few months ago, and I was shocked that he even said yes. I was like, really? You're gonna come on my podcast? Like, I mean, I was just shooting a shot here. He was like, yeah, man, come on. And it was like the first one he ever did, and we just kind of, we were shooting the shit for like an hour or so, and he was like, dude, I had a lot of fun with this. And I was like, thanks, man. Like, I did too, and I'll have you on again. He was like, absolutely, let's do it. And then he even suggested. Yeah,
the long boy.
I love him. He's so goofy. But he even suggested some people to come on the podcast. He gave me some suggestions, which I was shocked about. I was like, dude, thank you. Like, I wasn't expecting that. He's like, yeah, well, I had a great time with you. We had a great time just talking for an hour. Like, of course I'm going to recommend somebody. And then when I posted the podcast, he put it up on his story, you know, and again, I never asked him to, but he did. And I was like, forever grateful. I sent him like a huge message. I was like, dude, thank you so much. Like I really wasn't expecting you to do that, but like, thank you. And I think that, again, like I think it shows like you're not expecting everything from anybody, you know? That's the way I view it, at least. I don't want to ever think like, oh, like I'm expecting this person to do something for me. Like I never, like I just want to have you on. I want to talk. I hope you have a good time. And then people get to see what you're like and people get to see what I'm like while we're talking. And that's my whole view on it.
Yeah, I think for us, now that we've started doing press coverage too, we get so many inquiries every day, and it takes hours upon hours to put these articles together. And so it's kind of disappointing when, number one, someone reaches out to us for press coverage, or, you know, maybe we reach out to them first, whatever. We go through the process of interviewing them. They give us their quotes. They let us listen to it. We write it up. We tag them on everything when it goes live, and then nothing, like ghosted, silent.
Wow.
And of course, like I'm not expecting that, but it's a little disappointing sometimes when it's just like, okay, cool, like I guess we'll just move on then.
Yeah, I could totally understand why it's disappointing. I do. It's like we both, especially, it's also weird in a sense if they put in the effort too, like you just kind of said, like they're putting in effort of like reaching out and like, let's get it started, let's get this and that. You would think they would want the effort on the other end too. Like, you know, they put the effort getting on, but they didn't put the effort promoting it. It's kind of weird, but
yeah,
you know, to each his own,
I think,
I guess.
like overall, we just want to make sure that we're covering things our audience really like to read about. You know, I mean, we had a couple weeks ago, Ben Balix, our melodic dubstep investigations reporter, he covered Subcharge, who, I mean, I think Subcharge has been on Subsidia, a couple other small labels, but I hadn't really been familiar with him before Balix did this whole feature and interview, and it just blew up. This was still to this day the most read article on our site ever. We've never seen that many people so interested in a story, and I mean, thank goodness, like the artist reposted it too, which probably accounted for a lot of the traffic we saw. But that's so cool to us, and that fulfills our mission when our reporters can cover stories about smaller artists, and then that's what blows up out of everything we write about.
Yeah, I love both of our platforms for that reason, because yes, of course, we want to interview bigger artists, we want them to be incorporated, and obviously, but the fact that we can highlight smaller artists that maybe aren't as known or just getting their name out, and you know, they just want to be heard, and they're putting out good music and they're working hard. I love being able to talk to people like that and showing people off like that. You know, it means the world to me. Like, and then you form that relationship, like they grow, you kind of grow type of thing. That's like, again, how I view it is like, you're starting out, you're trying to get your name out there, I'm trying to get my name out there, boom, let's collab and let's just make it work and let's see where it goes, let's see what happens. It could blow up, it could not, but like, hey, we're putting the effort forward, you know.
Yeah, and it's also like pretty cool that we're covering all of these small artists, because these are the artists that don't really get coverage. I mean, I was actually even surprised to see that EDM.com wrote up Chassis's latest EP, because, I mean, to me, Chassis is pretty underground. You know, I mean, same with like Genie and some of the other artists that we've covered on our articles. I just think it's cool that there's a place now where they can go and have a write-up done about them, or maybe tell a little bit of their story, because dubstep is such a niche market. I always tell Yesi, I'm like, our audience is really only like 30,000 people, which isn't a lot in the grand scheme of EDM. It's really not a lot at all. And sometimes I'm just like, how do I reach this audience? We're always trying to find creative ways, but you have to remember that it's so niche that, of course, there's going to be days where you don't get likes, you don't get listens, but that's just because the audience is so small in itself, and it's like hard to target those people because there's so little of them.
It might be a small audience, but the one thing you have going for you is that it's such a close-knit community. Like, it just, they love it. They just love dubstep so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the one thing that makes it so unique and different, is that they're diehard fans. And once you get them in, they obviously they want to stay because that's what they love. They love it. So it's definitely a good niche. It might be small, but it's a good niche to be in. Like, there's no doubt about it. And it's growing. That's the other thing. It's like right now we're in the stage of we're all watching it grow. I mean, think about it 3 years ago. It wasn't nearly as big as it was now. At least in my head, it wasn't. I wasn't even really into dubstep 3 years ago. That's why I say that, you know. But but it's constantly growing, and it seems every year it gets bigger and bigger. I mean, Lost Lands Base Canyon. Every year, I feel like more and more people are tweeting about it, talking about it on Instagram. Oh my god, I gotta go. Oh my gosh, this looks crazy. Oh, Excision. You know, like it's just constantly you're seeing it like build more and more and more. At least here in the States for sure.
Well, I haven't heard from you. Jacob, are you going to Lost Lands? You have your ticket saved, right?
Oh, yeah, I'll be going. I don't miss Lost Lands. No, I don't miss Lost Lands.
Oh.
I won't miss it. I won't miss it for the world. Yeah, no, that is, even though it's not my first festival, it's probably my first festival where I felt that home feeling, you know, that people always say, oh my God, this is home. I definitely Lost Lands for me. I don't think I'll ever miss it.
Yeah,
I think for me, I've never been, no. So this will be my first Lost Lands.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll make sure it's the best it can possibly be. We'll definitely.
Oh, I know it will be. We just have to lock in the glamping ticket and we'll be Gucci.
We'll have to do a meetup. We'll make sure. You have to hang with me and my squad. If you don't have your own squad, I got you. We'll make it happen.
Well, we are thinking of throwing a huge camping party. I know that High Zombie, Lays, Jicky, and Chassis will be on the lineup, so everyone should stay tuned because this will be like the sickest camping party ever.
I mean, I have a lot on my agenda for the next week, and that includes reaching out to Excision's team to get approval for this party. So you guys send us good vibes because I sense that something big is going to be happening in the lots at Lost Lands 2021. Let's go.
I hope so for you guys. I'll be there to support it. You got me. I'll bring my camera. I'll do all that stuff. You need pictures and stuff, so you got me.
You'll get a guest list to our party.
Oh, thank you. I'll do a live podcast while it's going on.
Dude, that would be so sick if they actually had service over there.
It'd be crazy. We could do it live and post it the next day. We could do it, post it. I know there's like one of my friends one year got a hotel. It's a long story as to why he got a hotel like 20 minutes away. But besides point, there's a hotel 20 minutes away that we could definitely post it like the next day if we ever did a podcast at Lost Lands. We just drive over there, post it real quick, leave.
I mean, we could even record it like in our glamping tent or something.
Oh, no doubt. I think that'd be cool. I actually really want to do that. I actually do really want to do that at some point. I want to bring like my smaller stuff, my travel stuff with me and like just like meet up with like a bunch of like you guys and whoever else said and like do a small podcast and then like we would have it for when we get out of the festival. I think it'd be so much fun. I think it'd be so much fun.
How sick would that be? One of my dreams is to be like the girl on the Ultra live stream.
Oh, like going around
interviewing like Armin van Buren either right before he goes on stage or right after his stage. Like it's like Paul Van Dyke. She's like, so how you feeling about the crowd today? Like that would be goals, at least in a dubstep setting.
I mean, you might be able to do it this year. Lost Lands.
We should ask Chrissy.
We should. I might put an inquiry out to his team and just say like, hey, we're willing to host the live stream if you need two girls to talk dubstep for 4 days straight.
You got us.
Yeah.
And high knees. We'll do the high knees. Host a jazzercise class.
I mean, you know, I don't see a reason why he would say no, especially if you're offering like it to do it for free and offer some free publicity and stuff. Like he's, you know, he's helped the bass and dubstep community so much already. I feel like there's good reason for him to be like, yeah, I would love to get more people involved.
Especially because he always helps out artists. I mean, now it's time to help out some content creators.
Yeah.
Some small businesses. Support the small businesses.
Never know, it could come your way after that too. He might be even more intrigued.
I don't think it would hurt to reach out. I need to do some digging on Facebook.
First off, it never hurts to reach out. Never hurts. Yeah. The answer is always no if you don't reach out.
Hey, and that's true. And that circles back to what we started with. I mean, you just have to sometimes put yourself out on a limb. Like, I put myself out on a limb when I reached out to my hairdresser's sister. And I was like, hey, I'm a 16-year-old looking for an internship.
Yeah. Yeah. You you never, again, it comes back to that thing. You never know. You just gotta take the shot, hope the networking works, and it might. I mean, look how this started. I think I DM'd you, right? And I was like, let's do a podcast. And you were like, we can set that up. And we just started going back and forth and figuring out when this was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we have no reason not to. I might try to pull a couple contacts to reach out to, because I have a few different asks for Excision's team. 3 to be exact now. So.
Not to brag, but
pick 3 different people to ask.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would go for it. Absolutely. Have you been to Base Canyon yet?
No.
I haven't either. That's just too far from me at the moment. It's literally cross country. Like literally all the way across country.
We've heard rumors that people are now saying that the Gorge is a better venue than Red Rocks. So we're going to have to be the judges of that.
Going for the Colorado title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll really have to be the judges of that.
I haven't been to either, so I can't say yet. But
oh, you've never been to Red Rocks?
No, dude. It's funny. So one of the times I was in Colorado, we were supposed to go and like see it because I wanted to, and I think I can't remember what happened. We ended up not going for some reason. I don't know if we just got up super late or something. It was a while, like 5 years ago. And I was like, I just didn't wake up early or something. I can't remember. Something stupid like that. Just missed out.
Well, hopefully festivals are set to come back at Red Rocks. I don't know, maybe like June or July. My friend who works at the Capitol said that July is the date for outdoor concerts.
I mean, a lot of the September, like Alice in Wonderland has something in September, and I heard hers sold out already. So.
Oh yeah, and like Res Rocks, I'm pretty sure Res Rocks sold out 2 days.
I definitely need to make my way out there for a concert, because that's something I could do like on a weekend, not have to worry about taking off work. I definitely should.
Yeah, fly in on a Friday, get here by like 8 or 9. We'll take you out. We'll take you downtown to Rhino. We'll take you to the Dubstep FBI studio.
Okay.
And then Saturday we can wake up, get
apartment
brunch, and
shop.
Then we'll go to the lodge.
All apartment shop, and then we'll go to the concert. Yeah, I'm in.
Exactly.
I'm totally in. Don't tempt me with a good time. I love Colorado. That's my goal to move out there. So I'll go as many times. I'll come out all the time. I'll come out every other weekend. Why not?
Yes. And like once domestic travel becomes kosher again, our street team's going to be here all the time. I mean, Denver always has shows. It's like every single weekend. It's like Slimes is in town, Phase 1's in town, like Res is in town. There's never a shortage of a good time here.
I'm just curious, because my concern with like moving to Colorado was like there aren't as many festivals there, but do you ever feel like you're left out on the festival scene, or do you guys go to enough out of state ones where you're like, or you have enough shows where you're like, I'm not really worried about it?
Me, where I'm at is festivals like in the US in general. If I've already been to it, unless it's EDC Las Vegas, I'll go. But for the most part, I'm all about international festivals. I like traveling the world. That's like my prioritization. I'd rather save my money to go to festivals outside of the country. So I don't really have like FOMO, I guess, is where you're getting at.
Yeah. Lost Lands gonna change that, but it's okay.
I mean, like Lost Lands, yeah. I was supposed to go 2019, but I really couldn't with my job. I couldn't take the time off. So
I'm sorry.
That was sad. And then I was going to go last year, and then obviously COVID happened. So
right.
2021 is the goal now. But my priorities are to travel, visit a new country, and go to whatever festivals are there.
Yeah, I agree completely, Yesi. I mean, when we were in Europe in 2018, I was watching Keizo so closely. I knew what dates he was in Switzerland, what dates he was playing Italy, when he was in Austria. Like I knew his whole Europe tour date, and my goal would have just been to like show up at all of those small clubs. Yeah. Like, have you heard of Boots House?
I have not. No.
It's just this legendary club. It's one of the only clubs I want to say in Europe that is mostly known for dubstep. I think they have other shows. Totally look it up. But all of the like Virtual Riot, Gami, oh God, we tried to go there, but we couldn't make it. They're only open on weekends. That's high on the list. Melkweg in Amsterdam. I saw Spaghetti and 12th Planet there 2 years ago. We just love seeing artists play on international stages because, in America, the crowds are mostly the same, and it is what it is.
No, and that's so true because I went to Amsterdam Music Festival back in 2016. That was quite an experience because I remember I had gone to like EDC, I had gone to Coachella already like 3 times. And so Amsterdam Music Festival, like it wasn't like my first big music festival, but it was one of my first international festivals that I've ever been to. And there was so many like older people like in their 40s,
Yeah.
50s. There wasn't a lot of young crowds. Like there were, but the majority were older crowds. And I that shook me. That was like a cultural shock. I was like, "Damn. Like this is like us here in Colorado on the weekends we go out to like the bars and whatnot.
Yeah.
No. In Europe, there's constantly festivals going on, and that's where the older crowds go. They don't stay home. They like I want to be like those people when I'm that age. Like that's gonna be me.
I feel like
when I'm 50.
I feel like that's kind of changing here. I do. I feel like that's how like a lot of my friends are. They're like, yeah, I don't really see myself ever not going to these things at some point. You know,
I was thinking about that like earlier today too.
Yeah, like we might lower the amount we go to. You know, obviously responsibilities like if you have kids and all that stuff, depending on how you know if you want kids and all that. But like but they still want to like go to them. Like, yeah, we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, because I was like, well, I'm already 25, and my priority sometimes is to go to these festivals. And then I was like, well, my friend Joe's 26 or 27, and he loves doing that too. And yes, he's 24. And I was like, you know what? It's cool for 30-year-olds to go to Lost Lands. Let's go.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, I think it is. I think it's funny. I always see those memes where it's like my parents at 21 like married me, like at the festival tripping balls or something like that.
Yes, literally us.
It's so
it's
funny.
like my friends are over here getting pregnant and they're getting married and shit, and I'm over here like still single as fuck.
God, on like
trying to figure out like what am I gonna have for dinner? Like what type of dessert am I gonna have? Am I gonna have the cookie dough, just eat some cookie dough, or am I gonna have like an ice cream sandwich, or what am I
get
gonna
the 2 for 25, save the meal for the next day, you know?
I know, I always do that. I'm like, well, if I'm eating out tonight, I better get something that will keep me for lunch tomorrow.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do. I hate that I eat fast food. I'm obsessed. I will say this. I will be honest. This is my honest confession. I have an obsession with Chick-fil-A. I just eat it all the time. But it's a Southern thing. Y'all not lived it your whole life.
Are they still closed on Sundays in Florida?
They're still closed on Sundays everywhere.
I don't know. Maybe Florida had an exception that we weren't aware of.
That killed me. I got it now. I wasn't ready for that.
It sucks.
I wasn't ready to be attacked on this podcast.
It's Sunday.
Oh my gosh, it's exactly how it is.
Same.
I honestly think at this point they do it on purpose. Like now they're like, because they say they're honoring the old co-founder, sure, but like I think at this point it's like that 1 day break where you just can't get it, like makes you want it the next week even more. I just can't. I don't know the science behind it, but it works. I swear to God. I swear it works.
Marketing right there.
I swear it works. Like I don't ever crave McDonald's, but Chick-fil-A I crave.
Who craves McDonald's?
No, I don't even eat McDonald's,
but
that's a different note. But yeah. Just that was my example.
What's the worst fast food?
It's gotta be McDonald's.
You think?
Yeah.
Burger King.
They're all bad. They're the same. Just a different name. One's got arches, one's got a crown. They're both bad.
They're all pretty gross. The only time I will ever get Mickey D's is if it's a last resort. I need to get breakfast. I'm on my way to the mountains because when you go skiing out here, you gotta.
Yeah, the mountain.
You gotta leave early.
I will say one time in 4 years I've had McDonald's was because we were on the road to Lost Lands and it was 4:30 in the morning and I was on the night shift driving and I was so hungry and we had to stop for gas and I was like, and we stopped in middle of nowhere, Ohio, and I was like, this is the only place, and it was the only place remotely close. The next place was like 3 hours away and then an hour off the interstate, like completely out of the way, and I was like, I have to.
Damn, did you drive all the way there from Florida then?
Yeah, we've done that both years. It's been great.
Oh God.
God damn, brother. How long is that drive?
It's about a 14-hour drive. It gets a little bit longer because you stop for gas, you stop for food like 3 times. The way back is absolutely horrendous.
Yeah. I mean, you just
Oh, you're
pretty
dead.
much slept in the dirt.
Yeah, you're dead
for 3 days, 4 days.
you're dead. And then what's funny to me is like you listen to dubstep for like 3 straight days, sometimes 4, depending on how many if you do the pre-camping and all that stuff. And on the way home, like you might listen to dubstep again, and your brain is just like, why are we still doing this? Like
you have to listen to like soft rock or something.
You like literally kind of have to. Like not like there's no joke. Like if any dubstep comes on, people are like, why? Like what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, bless our friend Joe's heart. That poor soul. He loves hardstyle so much. We're subjecting him to Lost Lands this year. We're gonna see how it goes.
He'll like it.
I think he will. I think he'll like the music, but I don't think he's gonna like the crowd.
The crowd's so nice. The crowd's so nice.
A bunch of wooks, from what I heard.
There's definitely some.
I think it is.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Jacob, you've been to different festivals, right?
Oh, it's definitely different than other festivals.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I've never been, but I can tell from pictures that it's a bunch of looked out people.
Okay.
A-hole, literally.
Okay.
Uncensored.
I get what you're saying, but it attracts a dubstep crowd that's base is EDM. You know, like it's only attracting people that like EDM and then particularly dubstep. So you're only getting an EDM type crowd. So it's very like everyone's very nice. At least I've never had any issues at all. Everyone's super nice. Everyone's very plur, and you know it doesn't usually associate with headbanging and stuff, but it is. Everyone's super nice. I mean, people come up to you all the time, making sure you're good if you're on the ground or something. I've never had any issues. I've had great neighbors every year. Coincidentally enough, the first year we did it, our neighbor was from Tampa, and like now we meet up with them every year. We didn't camp with them last year, but like just they were like, yeah. And sometimes we've met them once or twice out here. It's hard with our schedules, but we've met them once or twice at shows here when shows were going. Like but I've had great neighbors. I've done nothing bad about the people there, really.
I think it's just like being rolling around in the dirt for 4 days, which
that's
obviously every festival's like that.
Yeah, any camping festival, because you can't shower as well at a camping festival as you can at a festival.
Yeah, I'll never forget. It was like 1 p.m. on day 2, 2019, and I just turned to my side and I saw our little festival neighbor crawling into a bucket, washing herself
at Lost Lands?
Like weird water that was in a bucket. Yeah, I've never seen that before, but I think it gets to a different ratchet level.
Was I your neighbor?
We haven't seen at other festivals.
Was I your neighbor that year?
We used a bucket. You were, actually,
we used a bucket. We used a bucket to shower one year.
No
I swear
way.
to God.
Wait, seriously?
I swear to God. We didn't do it at our campsite. We went to like the water stations though and like filled up the bucket and then we showered.
Okay,
we had
so
soap
that's
though.
The difference.
We had soap.
We were throwing like the biggest pre-party in our tent. Well, in our like
area
sunroof area thing, and it was so loud. We probably had like 30 people there, and the person next to us was just sleeping on the tarp until like 1 o'clock, and then they woke up and started bathing themselves in like this weird bucket. So I just thought that was really weird.
I love it. You see the most random stuff at camping festivals. It's ridiculous. I remember last year.
Were there showers there? Because
you have to
I was
pay
talking
for
with Chrisy about this the other day and about Coachella. Because the one thing that sucks about Coachella is if you're camping, car camping specifically, then if you want to do the free showers, you're going to be waiting at least 2 to 3 hours. If you don't shower the night that the first night ends, you go to your tent, shower that night, but usually you're dead, you're wrecked, you just want to go to bed. At least that's how I felt every night after Coachella. We would all just crash immediately. You know, party favors, they fade away, and you're just like, I'm dead. You just want to go to sleep. So we would wait. We would like, okay, we're gonna set our alarms at 6 a.m, go shower. But there would already be a 2 to 3 hour wait at the showers first thing in the morning.
That's
okay,
so
I went to the showers at 7 a.m. at Lost Lands and no one was there.
But you had to pay for them though. That's the only thing at Lost Lands.
Wait, you had to pay for them at Lost Lands regardless?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think I
at Coachella.
Like
so Coachella, you didn't have to pay for them. Coachella, you don't, but there is the option to pay for them. The only difference is that they have blow dryers.
Oh, I need that.
And then they have like cleaner.
Are they more private
trailer showers?
Yeah.
More privacy, and they're a little more spacious.
That's why I didn't feel like paying at Lost Islands, because I look like they just look like they're literally like showers in like the back of a like semi truck. Like
they're in like a porta potty. It's like a porta potty.
Yeah, it's like
same walls.
Yeah,
same like buttons.
I'm not paying for that. But
Tomorrowland, we didn't have to pay for showers.
Did we not? Because I could have sworn that we did.
No, we didn't have to, and it was nice because they altered the days. So like one day, they would allow women to cut the line, but then the following day, men could cut the line and vice versa. But it was nice because we would usually wake up early to the chanting and shit, which was annoying as fuck. But that would be like our alarm clock of the neighbors next to us chanting, and then we would just get up, go to the showers. There would barely be any line anyways. So that was the nice part. But
I mean, the biggest scam about Tomorrowland, and any festival who does this, you guys are evil. Making your own currency for a festival like Tomorrowland. You guys made pearls. And one pearl was like over €3, which is $4 at least. And they were like, okay, 8 pearls for a thing of fries. And we were like, what? That's like $30. Like, it was you paid like was it you that bought the balloon? So you bought like a random balloon. I don't know why you bought that, but that was like the funniest thing ever. And that was like $40 that you dropped on that fucking balloon. I know. I was like, I have extra pearls on my wristband. Let's send it. Day 3.
We had to get rid of them.
Yeah. And then we rolled up to the main stage and we get to the rail for Timmy Trumpet, and I still have this fucking balloon. And it's like, it's huge, right? It's like, I don't know, 2 feet by 3.
It's like a pineapple balloon, like a big ass balloon shaped as a pineapple. It was pretty cute, like for pictures. But
yeah. It was cute, but it was not practical because they didn't give me a long enough string. So we just had to like
bopping
let
in the
it
head
go.
the entire way.
Well, plus, imagine being at the front of the stage and there's pyro and there's like, the fog and like shit being blown at you, and the balloon was like blowing back, and it was hitting people's faces behind us.
Yeah.
I would have tried to time it perfectly, like throw it in the pyro. I've been like, ugh, and then they would just have blown up.
We would have gotten kicked out.
Literally.
Just helium. I mean, it's cool. Straight.
But anyone who wants to see me and Yesi at Tomorrowland, just look up Timmy Trumpet Main Stage 2018, and you'll find us about 3/4 of the way through.
Let's look. Let's see what we got. Timmy.
We're in there somewhere.
Tomorrowland, when? 18?
2018, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the exact timestamp, but they actually put the camera right on me when I crawled on some random kid's shoulders. And then, Yesi, I think you did the same. We just were crawling on people's shoulders, and we were right up front, so they just pointed it at us.
Oh my god, I thought this
guy... there was this Indian dude in front of me, and I was like, hey, can I get on your shoulders? Because the cameraman's right there in front of me, so I'm trying to get on the live stream.
Yeah, and it worked.
That's so funny. Not seeing anything here. I'll look later.
We'll send you the link later.
Bet. We're like an hour and 15 minutes in, y'all. How you feel about that?
That's deep.
That's deep.
Jalen, if you're listening, I'm excited for your slappers picks.
What are the slappers picks?
Jalen's one of our street team members. He's like on top of the IDs. Anytime any rhythm artist posts an ID on, you know how they like record their whips and they post like little clips of them. Jalen is always sliding those into the DMs, and he's on top of it. Like, he knows everything about rhythm, everything about dubstep, and he curates our playlist once a month. So stay locked. We have new slappers coming on Sunday, so we're excited.
All right. I need a new gym workout. I'm in. Need workout playlist.
Hell yeah.
You're going to love the Lay's mix that we're dropping on Friday. Brother, it is insane.
God tier.
All right, Hulk Hogan, take it easy.
You better prepare yourself. Hope you're not doing anything Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time.
What is that time here? 3 hours.
Like 1 p.m.
Oh, yeah, I was trying to do the math in my head. You guys 1 or 2 hours behind me. I always forget.
I think we're 2.
I think you're 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because 3. Yeah. Because California's 3. Yeah. I gotcha. What are some new merch ideas you got coming out? It's the last thing I want to touch on. Besides, you dropped the Rail Breakers thing. Anything else?
Yeah, we actually hired a Mexican artist, Dizzo. Shout out to Dizzo. He designed another merch concept for us. And I'm not giving away too much, but there is a pit bull on it. And we love opening the pit. So stay locked for that one. It's hard. And honestly, our upcoming merch, it's going to be all champion. So you guys can only expect the best quality from Dubstep FBI. You know that our dad hats last fall, the fall collection, those were champion. Those sold out immediately.
I'll have to get a dad hat. I always wear dad hats. I'm in on that. Yeah, I do like those. I'll have to get in on that one.
Hell yeah. We've got a couple items coming up for the spring 2021 collection, just in time for festival season. We're really excited to see everyone out at the show. So you better be decked out in that FBI gear.
Do you guys have plans to make like trippy merch as well at all? Ever thought about that? To make legit, not that yours isn't legit. Let me rephrase that. To make more, I apologize. To make like more festival-ish attire, you know what I'm saying? Because there are like certain things that people wear that are like more trippy, or they've got lights, or they've got fluff on them. You know.
I think there's a fine line between like our brand. We take our brand very seriously with the colors, the fonts, like the way that it appears on things. And so for me, I consider a lot of our merchandise as streetwear. So, you know, I want to be able to ship this out to our Dutch friend Frank in the Netherlands and have him be able to wear this item to dinner with his family. But I also want to be able to, when he turns around, we're going to open the pit up. So on the front, it's kind of like dinner in the front, pit on the back. Dinner. That's what we're going for.
I like that saying. Yesi, what about you? What are your thoughts?
You know, just like Chrissy said, we have a standard when it comes to our merch. And just so everyone has some sort of context, we had hired a couple artists. It didn't work out, unfortunately. They were not delivering on the high standards that we have, or just the type of art that we're looking for when it comes to our merchandise. So we definitely have a lot of eyes that go in, a lot of work and a lot of grit that goes into, and money that goes into the merch that we provide. We take it really, really seriously. We want all of our brand to look consistent. So not saying that our merch doesn't look trippy, because I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Our type of merch fits into the dubstep scene.
I get what you're saying.
But it's not any sort of like psychedelic theme.
Totally understand
that you're
what you're
referring to. But it could, for some people, it may look like it. Like my family, for example, I showed them the merch concepts and they were like, it's probably not something I would wear maybe, but I can totally see that fitting into the EDM scene for other.
I like the idea of having that streetwear line, as well as have it to where it can go to a festival as well. Just was curious on if you were making more, like a little bit of both, or more oriented to the other. But no, I like the idea. I like it. I do like the logo and all that.
I mean, it's hard to find festival gear that's, decked out in the champion thread. Because for us, we could get these shirts printed anywhere in the world, really, for $4 a unit or something. And I mean, that's kind of what happened, actually. The first round of long sleeves that we had done, I had a recommendation from a friend of a friend who screen prints merch in his house, and I commissioned him to print 40 long sleeves for me. And he did, and then, we got them in the mail, and we weren't happy with them because it wasn't of the quality that we were looking for. Yeah. And so we had to find another vendor to print our long sleeves at the last minute, because we needed those to be on point. You wash them, you can't tell a difference. They last for 5 years. That's the kind of stuff that we're going for. Whereas, I mean, I could get festival gear printed anywhere in the world, but we try really hard to have it done in America, and we want it to be on some of the best threads available. So that's kind of why we go with the standard champion gear, mostly all black, because that kind of fits with anyone. Like, our photographer Drew, he can wear that while he's covering a show and be fine. Or I could wear that in an interview and be fine, or to dinner, whatever.
Yeah.
So it kind of checks like all the bases.
No, I agree. It's funny you mentioned that you had somebody else before, and like you guys had those small errors. Like I think that's so valuable to learn with any business you start. I mean, like for instance, I had two friends and I used to own a like truck decal and clothing company where we were related. I used to be a little more country than I am now, but I'll leave it at that. And we had gotten some decals made, I don't know, like 5 cents a piece over in China, and they shipped them over, and we got a ton of them, and of course they weren't the quality we wanted, like totally and then so we actually ended up buying our own printer and doing our own stuff because same exact thing, we didn't like the quality we were given. I mean, you know, we put them on like our vehicles to check them out first, and within like 2 months they were fading already, and it was just cheaper quality. There's nothing you can do about it at the time. You know, you just kind of learn from those mistakes. But it's definitely something that happens, I feel like, with every small business. When you start, you have those mistakes, you just gradually learn more and more and get better with it day in and day out. So
yeah, and I mean, just to, I guess, piggyback on what you're saying, me personally, I don't count losses. Instead, I count lessons.
No, gosh, that's so vital.
I love that.
It's so important.
I mean, it's very important. I mean, people always look at the successes of these entrepreneurs. Like you have Jeff Bezos, and then you have Elon Musk, you have these Google CEOs, and then they all started off in their garages, but they don't see all the grit and sacrifices that went into building these businesses.
Yeah.
I mean, me personally, I'd much rather learn from my losses than my wins. So,
well, that's the only way.
I'm going to leave it at that. Mic drop.
Yeah, mic drop. Yeah, I fully agree with that. I mean, with anything that goes wrong, in a sense, I guess is the way to phrase it, that there is a lesson to it at the end. I mean, you learn something one way or another. You just kind of find what you're learning. That's something I've always preached to people is, you know, through your falls and your pitfalls, there's some type of lesson in it. The issue is, you know, how do you find that lesson and how do you learn from it, and what did you take away from it? I mean, it's very easy for anyone to look at something and go, this is horrible, I hate this is so hard, and then just stop. But
yeah,
you know, what sets people apart is that all right, this went wrong. What went wrong? Why did it go wrong? Okay, and now I understand. Here's what went wrong, and now I know not to do that again. Like that's how you progress in anything, in life, business, sports, gym, all of that. Like that's literally how you progress. Is now, all right, what went wrong? Analyzing what went wrong, realizing how it went wrong, and making sure that doesn't happen again, and fixing it, trying something new. You know.
Yeah,
that's
and I have to say, like, that's why I love having Yesi as a partner, because when that long sleeve debacle happened, I was on the phone. I was like, Yesi, we have a problem. She was just like, you know what? You can't learn unless you fail. And she always says, like, that's what I love about this small business is that we learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
And we only report to ourselves. Like, I'm not over here reporting to like Bill Hughes, you know, I'm reporting to Christina Vesa, bottom line CEO. And all that you can ask is that you learn from these mistakes. Yes, it may have cost me a couple $100, but now I learned my lesson. Like, I'm always going to use my trusted vendor, and I know exactly what dimensions to show them. And that's really all you can ask when you're starting a small business, or if you're ever starting a project, you guys. For whoever's still listening, just find yourself a partner who is constantly seeing the glass half full instead of half empty.
That's another key note to hit on right there. Yeah, seeing things in a positive light. I mean, it just falls in exactly what we're saying. It's much easier to take that negative road. So much easier in any scenario to just be like, this sucks. But again, to the adversity and pushing through that adversity is what eventually gets you to that greatness and to that level of success that we all want. Lastly, before we get going here, I have one question and I'm going to start asking everybody. So you're the first people I'm going to ask. How are you both living yourself every day since you're on the Babs Life podcast?
How are we living for ourselves?
How are you living yourself every day?
I mean,
and it can be mindset, whatever. Sorry to throw you a curveball. This isn't a question.
It's a curveball.
This isn't a question we had written down.
Kind of I know it's a very broad question in my opinion.
You can handle it any way you want. That's what's the beauty of it.
What I would say is, I guess, how I handle my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Especially having a full-time job where it's basically like another business. As I said earlier, I'm in sales. I have to hit a quota. You're basically running your own business. Then we got Chrissy and I running 2 businesses as well on the side. So make your living during the day, build your wealth at night. That's my motto. I say that every time. But I work on event time, meaning I schedule my time on 30-minute or 60-minute blocks. I focus on the one thing. So when it comes to my personal growth, I have to ask myself, what is the one thing that I can do every day to strengthen my people skills? And by doing it, everything will be easier or unnecessary. That's the one thing I ask myself every day. Am I better today than I was yesterday? That was kind of
agree.
Very generic, but that's my daily routine right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I feel like a lot of successful people, they make a decision, like, for example, like me, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna work out 5 days a week. So I have to make sure to hold myself accountable to work out 5 days a week. Right now, I'm 2 beers deep. I haven't gone to the gym today. Today is day 3 of the week. I have to go. So I'm gonna have to go after this podcast.
All right.
Because I'm a woman of my word, and I am committed to working out 5 days a week. So you have to hold yourself accountable, make that commitment to yourself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll slide right back into your comfort zone. And that's not the life that I want to live.
Yeah. I think, like, running off of that on my end, I just want to be 1% better today than the person I was yesterday. And, that could be attributed for my mental health or for my relationship or for my family or my job. Maybe I do something really good on my job. Being 1% better than the person I was yesterday. Number 2, always having a goal, always having a vision. Like, I know where I want to be in 3 months. I want to be in Greece, and I want to be on an infinity pool. I'm working towards that. In 6 months, I'm going to be at Lost Lands. And then in 1 year, I'm quitting my day job and I'm running my own business and working for myself. Yeah. Those are the goals that I always have. And then number 3, I think is so important, is knowing when to stop, when to give yourself a break, and when to just pat yourself on the back. Like, we talked about it earlier today. We were working 3 jobs in college. We were making like $8 an hour, and we were just like scraping corners. And now look at where we are. We're light years ahead of that. And in the same amount of time, in 3 years, I'm going to be light years ahead of where I am now. So I think it's important to remember, like, not every single day has to be like 20 things checked off the checklist, Yeah. I like to give myself some grace, and that means taking a bubble bath, drinking a glass of wine, smoking a joint, like, just chill. Go to the hot tub with your boyfriend, like, know when to stop. Yeah. So those are my 3 things.
I love it. I love what both you're saying. It's important. I mean, that's what this podcast is about, is living yourself every day and showing the people that are what they're doing. I like interviewing people like both of yourselves, where we get a glimpse at the people behind the company or behind the brand name, or whatever it might be, the label that society gives us, basically. Like, I have a friend who I've had on before, mechanical engineer. We can classify him as an engineer, but then you get down talking to him and he's like, I love sports, I love standing at the beach on Sunday, and I love beer. I love going to the pub and just having a beer on a Friday. You don't get that when you label somebody as an engineer. You think nerd, right? I mean, but there's so much more complexities, and so that's something new we're adding to the podcast. You guys were the first ones to test it out, but yeah, I'm happy with those answers. Any answer is acceptable, to be honest with you. That's what it's all about. You're living yourself for every day, and you're happy doing it, and you're slowly growing every day to what you want to accomplish. But on that note, we're going to end it here. We're about an hour and a half in. We did a little bit more than we wanted to, and I loved every moment of it. We started off on such a high note with such valuable information, and we ended on, again, with just words of wisdom from all 3 of us. So I loved having you guys on. Thank you, Chrissy. Thank you, Yesi, for both of you taking time out of your day to come on. I loved it. Hope we can do this again in the near future.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Tell us where to follow you guys at and all that. I'll make sure it's in the podcast description as well, though.
All right. So you can
like,
find us on dubstepfbi.com, or you can find us on any social media, whether that's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. Just look up Dubstep FBI. You'll find us on all those social media platforms. But you can also check out our podcast, The Filthy Beat Inspectors, on YouTube.
Yes.
Stay locked.
Be sure to stay locked on Spotify. We have updates to our playlist every Sunday. If you guys like new dubstep, stay locked with the Dubstep Slappers. If you like melodic sad boy shit, stay locked on Mondays with the Melodic Investigations playlist. Give us a follow.
All right. Thank you both so much once again. I enjoyed the conversation. It was great. Can't wait to talk to you guys again.
Thank you so much. Can't wait to talk to you. Can't wait to rage with you.
Oh, that's happening for sure.